Tonight, budget backlash. Angus Taylor now the preferred PM as voters take aim at Anthony Albanese over a broken promise. 2 teenage girls charged over this attack in the city. The Premier denying that youth crime is out of control. Mid-air mayhem, 2 jets collide at an air show. 4 people escaping just in time. A car crashes, splitting in 2 before erupting into flames at Villawood. How the driver survived. East Gardens evacuated as fire filled the Westfield with smoke. And who's in, who's out, and who's making their big debut for the Blues in Origin 1.
This is 10 News Sydney with Sandra Sully.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the budget backlash hitting the Prime Minister hard. The latest polling showing Angus Taylor surging ahead as the preferred PM. While more than half of Australians fear they'll be worse off under the new housing tax changes. Despite this, Anthony Albanese is pushing ahead with his budget roadshow across the country as the opposition warn of a so-called death tax.
Taking in the public view of the federal budget, convincing voters is still a work in progress. The Prime Minister at a housing development in South Australia, his 4th state in 3 days, Cabinet ministers deployed in the big budget cell.
My job is to put in place good policies to make a difference for people. That's what we're doing.
But 2 major polls out today show there's budget backlash. Angus Taylor even moving ahead of Anthony Albanese as preferred Prime Minister in one of them.
This budget is an absolute rotter. It's an absolute stinker.
Liked even less than Joe Hockey's slash and burn budget of 2014, more than half of those surveyed expect to be personally worse off because of this year's budget. Just 11% feel better off.
We're fixing that broken status quo in housing over the years to come, and that is worth any near-term political cost.
While a third support changes to capital gains tax and negative gearing, a similar number say the broken promise has damaged their view on Labor.
Don't let the little details worry you, freak you out.
The federal government today defending its new 30% tax on discretionary trusts, the coalition in attack mode.
It's a death tax by stealth, there's no doubt about that.
An unhinged scare campaign from people with a partisan or a commercial interest in this.
The Prime Minister of Australia and the Treasurer are finding it hard to explain what's going on is because they lied.
One Nation fared well in the polls, increasing its primary vote. Pauline Hanson, the most likeable politician in one of them. One Nation's joined the fight against new taxes on trusts, which will continue. We've seen this kind of campaign against Labor before, and it was effective. But how can you mend a broken promise? Chloe Boris, 10 News.
2 teenage girls have been bailed after they were accused of unleashing chaos on board a bus and on the street at Haymarket. The alleged attack was captured on camera, and it's not the only incident police are investigating of violence in the city.
Sunday morning in Sydney's CBD when things came to blows.
Hey. What? You want to record too?
2 American tourists allegedly on the receiving end of a furious outburst from 2 teenagers aged just 16 and 17. Police say it all started on board a bus after 8 a.m. The 2 girls kicked off at Haymarket along with a 19-year-old man accused of assaulting the driver and passenger. That's when the alleged violence poured out onto George Street. One of the tourists was behind the camera.
Why are you recording for you little
before she allegedly became one of the targets. The 2 women aged 27 and 28 were both no doubt shaken but didn't need medical treatment, nor did the driver and passenger. Police arrived and arrested the 2 girls, while the 19-year-old man was issued a move-on notice. After they were arrested here on George Street, the 2 girls spent the night in police custody before fronting Children's Court this morning, where they were both granted bail. It comes alongside more vision of a separate incident that surfaced online across the weekend. A group dragging, kicking and stomping on their target, this time at Town Hall. The Premier labelled both incidents concerning, but says across the state, youth justice reform is making a difference.
By any objective measure, Sydney is one of the safest cities in the world. I want the public to understand that we're not going to drop the ball on this, and we won't accept antisocial or even violent behaviour define our city.
Hannah Stewart, 10 News.
Shocking video has emerged showing the moment two fighter jet planes collide mid-air in front of a packed air show in the United States. 4 crew members narrowly escaped with minor injuries as spectators watched it all unfold.
Military precision in the air. But one wrong move later, and this show takes a turn for the worse. Oh no. Oh. 2 US Navy fighter jets crashing into each other above a military airfield in Idaho. The 4 crew on board managing to eject and glide gently down to safety.
Okay, we got 4 parachutes.
Their aircraft turning into a burning heap of twisted metal.
My initial thought was, oh no, did it just hit a crowd? And so I was worried not only for the pilots, but is this a mass incident that just happened?
Robbie and Cade Robinson were driving to the air show when they saw it all happen in front of them.
And it was just a fireball, exactly like I would expect from a movie.
That's either a crazy stunt or something is very off here.
The Mountain Home Air Force Base was immediately locked down and the show cancelled.
Please stay where you are. Do not try to leave the field. Do not try to go to your car.
It was one of the first air shows back at the Idaho base since a hang glider pilot died during a display there in 2018.
And so you hear about it in other news events and you see it in movies and whatnot, and it's just surreal because you start thinking this can't be happening.
Michaela Fanto, 10 News.
A man was lucky to survive after his car tore in half and then burst into flames when it hit a power pole in Western Sydney. Emergency teams arrived at the wreck on the Hume Highway at Villawood at about 9:30 last night to find the sedan on fire. It's believed the car hit a hatchback, being driven by a 48-year-old man before hitting the power pole, the force snapping the pole in half. The 24-year-old driver escaped with burns and fractures and was taken to hospital. The other driver was also taken to hospital for an assessment. Domestic violence offenders have been targeted in a 4-day police blitz, cracking down on offenders and showing zero tolerance for assaults, intimidation and coercive control. Police marched offenders from their homes in dramatic arrests across the state, charging almost 1,000 offenders and laying more than 2,000 charges for bail breaches, firearms charges and outstanding domestic violence offences. Police also targeting coercive control, which is now a criminal offence. A man who stomped on a police officer's head has avoided jail time after appealing his sentence. 22-year-old Kobe Weaver kicked the officer's face as he lay defenceless on a Newtown roadway, claiming that he was trying to stop a fight involving his friends. Now, a warning, this story does contain confronting video.
Spilling out onto the roadway as punches and kicks are thrown. A brawl broke out between 3 men after one of them stole an Uber Eats bag from a Newtown fast food shop. 2 off-duty officers approached and then they were set upon. Kobe Weaver, in the black hoodie, can be seen delivering a violent blow with his foot, stomping on the man's head. The trio then take off, leaving their victim lying on the roadway. No assistance was given to him by either of the 3 young men until a Good Samaritan gave him CPR.
Why did you stomp on a stranger's head?
Why didn't you stop to help? The victim suffered multiple fractures to his face after the attack in January last year. In appealing the 2-year jail sentence, the 22-year-old's defence barrister argued Weaver didn't start the fight and that he was trying to stop the violence between his friends, asking the judge to consider the role of his youth and immaturity, saying it was an impulsive single act. The Crown prosecutor said the seriousness of the offence was high. A brutal attack on the victim occurred at night on a busy road. It was unprovoked, it was random, saying the consequences could have been catastrophic. The judge ultimately reduced Weaver's sentence for reckless grievous bodily harm to 22 months to be served in the community. The maximum penalty for the offence is 14 years prison and 5 years non-parole. The judge said in her view, a young, impressionable person can be exposed to influences in jail that make them more dangerous when released. He's been ordered to abstain from alcohol and drugs. Sarah Naven, 10 News.
Shoppers at East Gardens were evacuated this afternoon after a fire in a restaurant sent smoke wafting through the Westfield. 2 fire trucks responded after a small blaze in the kitchen of Miss Dumpling got out of control. It was quickly extinguished by the sprinkler system and didn't spread to neighbouring businesses. Sydney will soon be making waves with its first electric ferry, albeit 2 years later than first floated, earmarked for the yet-to-be-established fish market route, if all goes well, setting course for an entirely electric fleet.
Inside the Tasmanian shipyard that produced the Parramatta River-class ferries, a new era is about to begin.
Sydney's going electric with its ferry fleet.
Starting with one prototype based on a tried and tested design, but with new, quieter and cleaner technology, including charging infrastructure to be installed at Barangaroo Wharf. The total cost somewhere around the $20 million mark.
These are big boats, though, out on the harbour, so the charging infrastructure is quite significant to make them work.
Later this year, it'll be all hands on deck to construct the 24-metre-long vessel, due to set sail for Sydney Harbour by early 2028, when it'll embark on a 12-month trial. If successful, it'll be all aboard to the new fish market sometime in 2029. But that timeline is already 2 years behind schedule. Despite the delays, the government insists its broader ambitions aren't sunk. The goal remains to move away from diesel for the entire ferry fleet by 2035. The trial will inform the transition, but experts say it's a no-brainer.
The technology is ready to scale. Norway has demonstrated that this can be operated across whole fleets, and now it's time for us to deploy here locally in Australia.
Charting a new course for transport. Tallulah Thompson, 10 News.
The New South Wales and Queensland squads have been announced as the countdown begins to our favourite time of the year, Origin 1. Tara Russian joins me now with more. Tara, there were quite a few surprises today.
There were indeed, Sandra. Well, Laurie Daly has well and truly swung the axe. Several incumbents to bring in fresh blood, all with the desire for one thing, and that is to win back the Shield.
Here we go again. Another series on the line, another squad littered with new faces. Desperate for revenge, Laurie Daly has swung the axe.
I'm really excited. I think everyone in New South Wales should be excited.
But it's not all out with the old and in with the new. It's a recalled veteran that's the talk of the state, with former skipper James Tedesco back in blue, Dylan Edwards dumped.
I think I accepted last year that I probably wasn't going to be back here, but I've been really happy with how I've been playing my footy. You never know when a chance is going to pop up, and I think Dill's been playing some unreal footy as well, so definitely could have gone either way, but I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Dylan has done nothing wrong. It's just the style of footy we want to play in Game 1.
Changes to Origin eligibility has new faces in both states. Britton Nickera Maroon, Casey McLean, Aden Fanua-Blake and Victor Radley with a chance to represent New South Wales.
I don't know what I said, but it was probably a bit of emotion at the time. Let's go. That's probably the be-all and end-all of it.
I've always said that Victor's made for Origin footy, the way he plays the game, his brutality, his intensity.
It's not just eligibility Radley has overcome, forced to reflect on his own attributes after a 9-game ban for a drug-related incident. He's emerged a leader of sorts.
Definitely not going to force anything. Me being my natural self, I'm sure someone might say he's leading, maybe not, who knows.
I don't have to have a conversation with Victor. I love everything he brings. He brings intent and he brings a physicality.
6 potential debutants have been selected, all ready to rip in.
You know, when you make those phone calls to those guys, anyone that tells you that people aren't passionate about playing for New South Wales, they should have been on the end of those phone calls, because I know what it means to them.
The revenge mission starts now. Trent Simpson, 10 News.
Also coming up in sport, there'll be more on the New Look Blues as Billy Slater also swings the axe, naming a young rooster at halfback for the Maroons. Year 12 homework is on the back burner as Sydney FC's teen sensation chases history in this weekend's grand final. And everyone makes mistakes, even the fourth official. Why Neymar went absolutely nuclear on the sideline. He wasn't happy at all with that call. More on that coming up in sport, Sandra.
Yikes, that's the show done. All right, Tara, we'll see you then. Thank you. Stay with us. Still to come, a global emergency as Ebola virus spreads. We speak to the Aussies getting ready to fly into the epicentre of this outbreak. What sparked a fire that destroyed a luxury car in Mount Pritchard? A salad stowaway the moment a frog is discovered in a packet of Woolies lettuce. And inside the daring operation to save a whale trapped off our coast.